Hello, I'm Ron Puldayan, the Executive Director and Founder of Many Living Babies. And my team and I are really excited to share with you about Surrogacy Advisor, our upgraded surrogacy providers directory. Ever since our incorporation, in fact, to some extent dating before that, we've had a directory of providers on our website. It was using an older technology, but was very effective from the very first days to offer people more transparency and just the ability to see what's out there as far as providers that offer, the various services, including agencies and clinics, but also the ability to review them and rate them such that others can learn from their experiences. It was obvious in the last couple of years that we need to upgrade the functionality and the technology behind this to make it more manageable and scalable. We also wanted to bring some providers and other people can give us some expert advice about how to design it better. We'll talk more about that as well. But it is still an independent source with both information and additional functionality today, including the ability to more to interact with providers in a better way than before. The consultation function is better. The ability to leave reviews and ratings is better. But among other things, one thing we wanted to do is also to provide better cost information for people. Previously, the only indication you could get about costs was to see what people reported was their total cost of the surrogacy journey. And that wasn't indicative enough about each service provider, especially what portion of those costs are for the clinic portion and what for the agency. But also, since unfortunately costs are going up, or at the very least changing over time, the cost averages that you saw there were not indicative of what the costs were today. So we'll go into more detail later on about how we are providing better, more accurate, more up-to-date cost information in this new directory. The other things we wanted to achieve are to be even closer and more aligned with our values and our mission, insofar as one of the first things that is important here to understand is that the inclusion criteria for this directory are such that this is not pay for play. Providers cannot just pay their way into this directory. In fact, there's no fee for them to be part of this directory, but they have to attest that they are endorsing and acting upon a set of ethical standards, which now is a lot more robust than the ethical framework we asked people to endorse previously, given that it is in sync with a much more robust ethical framework that was devised by SEEDS, the Society for Ethics in Egg Donation and Surrogacy, and one which we think is going to go a longer way to assure that you are working with trusted and ethical providers. It is obviously still a way for you to find providers independently and not necessarily even talking about legal resources, other complementary services, etc., and not necessarily build on or trust references from one provider to the next. It is important to understand that this directory should be also very useful for prospective surrogates and prospective egg donors who are looking around to find ethical, trusted providers that could help them be able to match and help a couple or a single prospective parent. Now, jumping into the landing page of our directory, I want to first note that it was very important for us to provide a full spectrum of the professional services that you would need in a surrogacy journey. So not just agencies and clinics, but also egg donation services, legal services, and a slew of complementary services. More about that later. Also, I want to note that obviously some service providers offer more than one category of services. You will see that as you look at their directory and the profiles, and we will also make an indication whether they offer them in-house, such as, for instance, an agency that also has legal services in-house, and or offer them at a separate entity, for instance, an agency that owns or is affiliated with a law firm or an egg donation service. So often you will find those affiliated services in the appropriate directory.